Hi everyone and welcome to the next part of the Tinkercad tutorial, part 3. And I'm going to take a look at something new for this tutorial. In the last tutorial, recall that we set up a simple breadboard and we connected a light bulb. And using a breadboard, we connected a 9-volt battery so that when we hooked up the circuit, in other words, we ran the simulator by clicking over here, the light bulb does turn on. This is a complete circuit or closed circuit. If it was an open circuit, the light bulb wouldn't turn on, but in this case it is a closed circuit and electricity or electrons can flow. What I'm going to take a look at next is using what we call a multimeter. I'm going to stop this simulation, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this light bulb over here, and I'm just going to go and grab another light bulb so that I'm actually going to have two light bulbs in my circuit. I'm going to click and drag it in here, and I'm just going to rotate that light bulb around, and I'm going to connect it like so. I'm going to move it slightly over. So now that this terminal of this light bulb is in this row here, so this red wire is connected to this terminal. Now, if I want to connect both of these light bulbs so that they turn on, I'm going to need some more wires. I need to connect this side of the light bulb to the negative side of the battery or the negative terminal. And I'm going to use a black wire to do that. But in order to get electron to flow through both bulbs, I need to connect both of the bulbs together. And I'm going to do that by connecting a wire from this point here to this point here. And I'm going to make that a green wire. So if this is hooked up correctly, when the simulator starts, when everything is hooked up, electrons will flow through here, down here into this row, across into the light bulb, back through this terminal, through this wire, down through this terminal, through here, and then back through the terminal to the negative terminal of the battery. So if we start the simulator, yeah, it does in fact work. Both of the light bulbs turn on. I have a closed circuit, and we can see that with both the light bulbs on. What I'm going to do is introduce you to a measuring tool. In electricity, we can use something called a multimeter to measure various things in an electric circuit. And what we're going to do is we're going to use something called a multimeter. You scroll down here, if I'm in Components All, you can see here that there is a multimeter. And I'm going to click and drag, and I'm going to bring it up here. Now, a multimeter is called multi because it can do a number of different things. It can measure the current, which is represented by A, in a circuit. In other words, how many electrons are flowing. And current is measured in a unit called amps. We can also measure the resistance in the circuit, and resistance is represented by R, and the unit for that is ohms. We can also measure the voltage, and the voltage is really the voltage between 2 points in a circuit. So I could measure, for instance, what the voltage is across the battery. So I've got this set to voltage here, and I can see that. And the way I can measure is I can take a wire, and I'm going to connect one side to the negative terminal, and let's just make that black because we connected to negative. And I'll take the positive and I'll connect it to the positive terminal, and let's make that red. So what this is doing when I turn it on is it's measuring the voltage between these two rails. and it's like the potential difference between these two. So what I should get is really the difference between these two rails, which is the battery voltage. If I try it and turn it on, I can see that yes, there is voltage between these two. Now notice it's not exactly 9 volts. It's actually showing up as 8.86 volts. It's not exactly 9, but it's very close to it, and we'll talk about why it's not exactly 9 later on. But you can see that you can get that voltage measured across those 2 points. If I stop the simulator, I can measure, for instance, the voltage difference between this point here, and if I move this, between that point. And if you notice, that's actually the difference between these two terminals of this single light bulb, terminal 1 and terminal 2. And if I turn it on and start the simulator, I can see that I get 4.43 volts, which is pretty close to half of the battery voltage. And you probably figured out by now that, oh, half the voltage is dissipated in the one light bulb here, and probably the same voltage gets dissipated in this here if these two light bulbs have the same characteristics. So there you have a multimeter, an introduction of how you measure voltage with a multimeter. What you are going to do for the upcoming assignment is the following. You are going to create a circuit very similar to this, but instead of having 2 light bulbs, we're going to have 3 light bulbs. And what I want you to do is hook up a multimeter and show me what the voltage is going across one single bulb when you have 3 of these light bulbs connected and lit up. When you have this, you're going to do a screen capture. So remember, you're going to hold down your Shift key and click on Print Screen. Then you're going to go open up Paint, and you're going to paste this into Paint. At the top of the Paint file, please put your name and put Tinkercad assignment next to it and submit the JPEG into Schoology. That's it. Come and see me if you have any questions in class. That's it for this tutorial. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.